Let's start with this idea. Here, the author shows us that previous Bitcoin bear cycles lasted 364 days. So we can clearly see this pattern both in 2018 and again in 2022. And this same pattern might very well appear again right now. We just have a little bit of time left. This is approximately leading up until the very end of 2027, after which, exactly as we have witnessed in those previous instances, we might see some very strong upward movements. It is certainly well worth your time and effort to pay close attention to this and keep these important factors firmly in mind whenever you are accumulating this coin. If you truly believe in the long-term growth potential of Bitcoin, you can begin the process of purchasing it gradually and consistently so that after this current market cycle finally ends, you can successfully lock in your positions at much higher values. So I noticed a rather interesting situation with Link, and let's analyze it now. As I did before, I first draw a dynamic line along the lows. We can see that long liquidity, that is, the stop losses and liquidations of those who entered long positions, is accumulating just below these lows. This makes it a highly attractive and strategic target for short sellers to lock in their positions right here. And we can clearly see that the price has now broken through this dynamic line and subsequently plummeted well beneath the volume shelf. This, of course, provides us with a clear indication regarding the strength of the sellers, but in addition to that, it also broke structure, which is a compelling additional justification for entering a short position. And the consolidation only confirmed this. So, taking everything into account, it makes a lot of sense to consider short positions here. Let's try to take a moment to visualize this scenario together. We'll place the stop above the maximum. The price is currently at the level of 10,054. And we'll set our final take profit at the renewal of the global minimum. In other words, this will be at the level of 7,744. I've specifically marked partial take profit points to feel a greater sense of confidence in this position, so I can feel completely comfortable and secure. Let's take a look at them as well. The first level is, accordingly, 90.48. The price came to this level quite often. We saw both bounces and that it acted as a significant resistance level, so it's quite a strong one. Now, let's move on to the next levels. The logic is very similar. All of them served as highly significant key levels for us, acting as either resistance or support. That's why right here we will secure a portion of our position. If the price comes back here, we'll look to enter the trade from the retest. Here I'm allocating 1% of my deposit as risk. So, if the market price comes down and hits my stop loss level, in this specific case, I will only lose exactly 1% of my total trading deposit. I recommend you do the same. It is vital to avoid taking on too much risk so that over the long run, you don't lose your entire initial deposit. This ensures that you yourself feel perfectly comfortable and confident while trading. So, the MANTA coin, 1-day time frame, we can see that in recent trading sessions, the price took out the stop loss orders of the short sellers below this high and then went into a correction. This is a very strong and reliable indicator for the continuation of the current downward movements. I'll also point out right away that below us there are significant untouched price lows where long traders' stop losses are accumulating, which effectively acts as a target for a move lower. I also marked the dynamic line, which we have touched many times and accordingly bounced off of. This specific pattern has happened more than 5 times already, and accordingly, the price will still be drawn to it right now. Therefore, we should definitely use this as a primary target for exactly where the price is likely to go in the future. Now let's talk in more detail about the position that might be awaiting us here. I would like to point out right away that we have moved significantly below this high volume level and are currently trading beneath it. And as we clearly know from our previous videos, whenever we see this specific situation occurring, then this level already begins to function as a significant level of resistance for us. Additionally, we can already see a short breakdown forming here, which serves as further confirmation for continued downward movements. If this hypothesis proves to be correct, we can potentially secure a very substantial profit from this trade. Let's estimate what our position might look like. We can initiate a short position in this area and set our stop just above the most recent swing high. That is at the mark of 0.008252, and set our take profit right at the point where the previous lows are updated. Under these circumstances, we could capture approximately 23% of the total downward movement. but entering into a trade with just one take profit is a highly risky and suboptimal strategy. So we will strategically lock in our profits partially at two specific additional levels. These are at 0.007046 and 0.006491. We can see how these levels acted as both support and resistance. We have significant volume shelves here, so these will be highly effective and strategic price levels for securing your trading profits. So, Bitcoin, 4-hour chart, we can see that we first reached our support zone. This is at 76,335. We saw a bounce, came up to resistance, but we were unable to break through and consolidate above it. It actually turned out to be just a false breakout, because this specific level is quite strong. And at the same time, we were held back by the significant horizontal volumes located right at this mark. After that occurred, just yesterday in our private community, we mentioned that if we don't successfully break through this resistance, we will most likely fall even lower. And that's exactly what happened. We successfully took out the stop losses of the long traders who had placed them just below these key levels. And after we took them out and consolidated for a while below, it immediately signaled to us that the price would likely move toward further support levels. And as a direct result of this, right now we are seeing these significant downward movements. Now this level has become resistance for us, just like the 77,700 mark. At the moment, there are essentially two key levels to pay attention to. The first is the 73,400 level. From here, we will be looking for confirmation of long positions. We need to see a technical pattern that looks very similar to this formation, after which we can only consider opening any new long positions in the market. If we don't see anything from here, or if our entry signal is not clearly confirmed by the price action, a very large support zone will be waiting at the 71,637 price level on the chart. We can see how significant this volume zone is. A considerable amount of volume was consolidated here, so we will definitely see some kind of reaction in this area. And let's take a look at how all of this might look for us. Here, in fact, because the zone is large, we might go a bit deeper, stay in some kind of consolidation, for example, and only after that see a breakout in one direction or the other. Right now, as we see these downward movements, it's better not to enter any positions at the moment and to only act based on confirmations. Accordingly, we have several options. The first is that we look for long positions from support levels. These are at the marks of 73,400 and 71,637. After confirmation, we can enter long positions. And the second option is that you can try to short. You can actually do this from the previous support level, which was sitting right at 76,335. Since we broke down below it, it now acts as resistance for us, and overall you can consider short positions here with a stop at 78,245 and aim to hold your position towards further support levels. But here, everyone chooses their own strategy. Some people prefer to short the market, while others prefer to go long, so it is entirely up to you to decide what to do based on your strategy. But if you are going to enter long positions, I would personally look to take your initial profits at 75,425. This is because, as we can clearly see on the chart, the price has come here before and bounced off this specific level. In other words, this historical level is also quite significant and should definitely not be ignored. And now let's quickly update the current situation with DOGE and JUP. For DOGE, we have already successfully taken our second profit at 0.09866, and we've already captured almost, if we take a moment to calculate it, 10% of the move, which is a very solid and impressive result for us. We continue to hold the position, the stop can be moved to break even, and from there we aim for our next profit targets. With JUP, the setup has played out remarkably quickly in our favor. As we can clearly observe here, we reached our dynamic line, experienced a significant price bounce, and then hit our target, successfully capturing a 12% move. Now, if we break through this dynamic line and also the volume shelf, that will serve as a signal for us to enter a short position and, overall, will indicate a bearish sentiment, meaning we will move to take out all this long liquidity. And overall, you can look for opportunities for short entries here. If we break through the 0.18821 level, establish a period of consolidation right below it, And then, when we come back to retest this level, carefully watch for some potential breakdowns here and enter based on those. This would look quite logical, and you can try to catch a very large downward move. I think everything should be quite clear and straightforward so far. Write in the comments which coins you'd like to see analyzed next, and I wish everyone profits. Bye.